Did you see where that?
It's live. Okay.
We started last. So we have 6 of those invoices.
Okay, ready to go.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order if we may. Wade, how about you opening us with prayer?
Sure. Our wonderful God, we thank you for this beautiful day that you have given us. We thank you, God, for good health and good strength and all the blessings that you give us each and every day. Lord, we just ask that during this meeting that you would give each and every one wisdom and knowledge. We thank you, God, that you've given us this opportunity to be together with the calling that you have given to each one of the board members, the staff members. God, we thank you for the parents and their participation. We thank you for our students. And God, we just pray that we would do everything that would be meaningful to them, that would lead them in the right direction. We thank you for the leadership that we have. We just pray that you would continue to be with them and God, minister to their hearts as they do great things. We ask you in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, how about Sarah, if we start with you and we'll go around and.
Sarah Hall.
Introductions.
Beth Barr.
Wait, on the trap.
Shanda Walker. Liz Mahini. Alex Smith.
Christian
Julie Vetter. Bree Vetter. Danica Vetter.
Steve Pendleton.
Alex Martin.
Ray, my coach.
Adam Sherman, Ralph, my coach.
Bonnie Grace. Jennifer Strotterman.
Doug Hines.
Dixie Dean.
Melvin Shook.
Sheena Van Meter. Sean Colors.
Janet Rose.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It's so nice to be able to look around the room, and we were thinking we might even have to look for more chairs, so that's joyous. We appreciate it. First on board, our student achievement recognitions. Mr. Yeager, I guess your art students.
Well, I sent the letters home and one came, my hero. We have some art for the walls there. It's
Mom can come with you. She looks like a student.
they are oil pastels. So the kids drew like an ocean scene with oil pastels. Yeah, shadow over your part, pal. Give you support. So they drew fish and bubbles with the white oil pastels, and then after they used, this is second grade, after they used watercolors to go over top of it, and oil and water don't mix, so the oil pastels resisted the watercolor, and it made the bubbles appear and the fish pop out. And I'll hold this up to you. Here's hers.
Oh, those are great.
So they're doing
Thank you for coming.
Wonderful.
So we're gonna hand those. Is her reward giving you the link, Chef?
Yes, yeah, she just extra scratch of the shadow. You're the only one who can.
So we have frames that are out here that we're gonna hang up in the front hallway. So once they're hung up, you guys swing by, make sure you stop in and actually appreciate the full effect. It's pretty cool. And we'll try to keep them up for a couple months. You wanna do a photo?
Kelsey, see, you've been out in the cold.
You just send the old one.
The neighbors.
Yeah.
Christie's.
How many guys?
They were in the road. They were in the highway. I got a phone call, but time I got up there, someone pushed them in. Messed up my.
You get that?
Your routine. Oh, yeah, that's always the way it is. You're fine.
Gonna be here about 10,
Thank you very much.
15 minutes.
Yes.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, everyone.
I didn't stay.
He says you can run my baby way out.
Usually this time of year.
Let's go ahead and come back to order if we can. This is Roy Harper. He's our newest member on the Board of Ed. He took office in July, along with Janet. Right? Yeah, who's a veteran board member. So anyway, next up up is our benchmark 2 data with Bonnie Cross.
Okay, so you should all have a copy of it. I'm not going through all like 60 pages of that. I kind of like hit the highlights for you. So with the benchmark data, our math scores are still slightly lower than our reading scores in the county just overall. The good thing is though, in every single category, and there's a graph that shows this, every grade level did increase from first benchmark to second benchmark. So that means that growth is happening, students are learning. So that's a positive thing because last year it was not like that. So we still have high percentages of special education and ELL students in that lowest category. And each school does have an intervention plan that they're using where they have students who are in that lowest category working with specialists, trying to help improve their scores and get them on grade level. So they are still using that. So there's a lot of benchmark data, a lot of different graphs, a lot of different stuff to look at. That's like the largest chunk of the data file. Do you want a few minutes to look over that, or you want me to keep going?
Go ahead and keep going, and then they can stop you if they have a question.
So attendance, we know that students attending school improves their learning and their education. Overall, still elementary attendance rates are higher than the middle and high school. However, middle and high school levels have improved this year. So overall, Hardee County is about 1% higher in attendance rate this year than we were last year at this time. So that's a positive trend, and maybe that's why our benchmark scores are all improving too, because our attendance is also improving. There are interventions for attendance. There's incentives and things. Every school has their own plan, and they do continue to follow that plan for improving attendance rates. Mental health and social emotional learning still continue to be a focus. We know that poor mental health and very poor social emotional coping skills does correlate with lower benchmark scores. And so that's still a focus in all schools. We have workers that work with students to help them at every school with mental health issues, maybe not the best home life situations. So we do have people who are working with our students in those situations to help improve their skills and their scores. Overall, we have fewer behavioral incidents in WEVIS this year, so that's a good trend as well. It's trending down compared to last year. And then our learning teams are continuing to meet, so that's like the last section of your data file. Most of the schools have reported learning team data. The only school that I don't have anything from is East Hardee Elementary. But I know that Emily works with goals, so I'm not real sure why I don't have any reports from them. But they are working on math and reading goals, and those are basically short-term goals to then overall reach those benchmark scores at mastery when we take those. So that is what I have. I kind of just hit the highlights. Do you have questions?
Did anything really stand out to you
As far as
in the benchmark scores?
so the one thing, and I mentioned this last year, that 10th grade math last year like plummeted for whatever reason on second benchmark. And it was both at East Hardee High School and at Moorville High School. And I have no idea what caused that. And this year it did not. So I'm not sure if it was the test last year or maybe the students weren't in math classes the first semester. I don't know what happened last year. But that was one thing that I noticed, and every single grade level made progress this year. Whereas last year that wasn't the case. So to me, that was like the biggest thing that stood out.
Anybody else have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you on.
You might have questions after you get a chance to look at it.
Well, email me. I would be
Yeah, I
more
mean,
than
this is-
happy
This
to,
is a lot to take
I
in.
know.
What's your email
That's-
address?
Yeah,
bonnie.kreitz@k12.mv.us. Yeah,
And
please.
if you want her
email me.
back, like if you want her to come back and do a.
Yeah, I
follow-up,
can-
We'll be happy to
I
get her
can
back
do
on
that
the
too.
next agenda too, if she's
Yeah,
available.
yeah, I can do that too.
okay.
She's.
Thank
I mean,
you.
seriously.
Yeah,
this
just-
a lot.
we
It
could do
is,
like this.
it is a lot. That's why I didn't want to go through every single page with you.
Right,
That would
right.
take you the entire night. Yes.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, this needs some time to
Yes.
absorb,
Okay.
but for the most part, we're up.
Yeah, it's positive.
That's wonderful news.
Yes. I
Did
agree.
you do an average percent that everybody was up?
I have not yet. I've been working on that, but that takes a really long time because I'm working on like each individual student in the county and like what percent. That's the best of Hardy County awards.
Yeah.
And it takes me a very long time to do that, but I'm working on it. I've got kindergarten, first and second grade finished. And I'm working on third, fourth, and fifth.
So if you're working on that, then that can tell us who's on the cusp.
Yep,
From
it does.
going, because we've talked about having a list of those names, because if they would get a little bit of extra help, then maybe we could move them up to the next.
Yes,
Yeah.
we share that out with the schools.
And I can
tell
tell you, like, I've already looked at, at the middle school, I have a learning skills class. And we already rearranged our learning skills based off of where the kids tested on the second benchmark. I had one of the kids that I worked with first semester who he got mastery already on that second benchmark. So I moved him out and I swapped him with somebody else who's on that cusp. So hopefully, even without me going through every single kid in the county, I hope that the teachers are looking at their own data. Because that they can look at 25 kids faster than I can look at however many kids we have in Harvey County.
Well, why don't you ask him to do that?
I could do that.
If if you don't have the time or feel like you're not gonna be able to do it, it's important that we get that information. So that can be trickled down, that we can
To the teachers.
absolutely.
I should have it done probably within a week or two. So,
Okay.
but I mean, I do that with my own classroom, and
Yeah,
the
we
seventh
just-
grade team does that too.
Our whole school is looking at that. But we have team planning together built into our schedule weekly. So we're looking at that very frequently and adjusting as needed on a regular basis. It's not something that just happens on occasion past the benchmark, that's happening.
Very comforting to hear, because a lot of the kids are, and they're learning how to take tests
Yes.
and looking for different words, and that it's like you see that word and it's like, whoa, and learning different skills.
And
So,
we're also using like the test authoring feature that, the testing site now has available, where you can go in and you can pull sample questions and make your own set based on what your student needs are. So we are all like using that, and that gets them a little bit of practice with the system, but it also helps meet, like, if there's particular areas where there are skills lacking, we can supplement with that during learning skills time or elsewhere with the interventionist.
that's good. And you're at Northfield.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm really happy to hear that. Okay, and you're.
I'm at the middle school too. We are the science department at Moorfield Middle School. We're it.
That's great. Now, are you Allison? Okay, you're our math super. Did you get an award or something?
I won the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science.
Okay.
So I won for the year 2023.
Yay! That's wonderful.
Thank you.
It's so nice that, I always love math, and it's so nice to have a teacher that obviously loves math and excels at it, to be your teacher. It really helps. Yeah, it does. So, okay. Sorry to be yakking. So, next up, we have Extension Office, Alex and Liz.
Up here.
Sure, wherever you want to be.
Oh, give me a place to put my stuff. All right. First, I'm just gonna go ahead and hand you this. Here's a handout for everybody.
Thank you.
And then here's our budget paper. And Liz has got one too.
behind you.
Thank you.
All right, so first, going off the budget, we'll start with that. I want to thank you all for your continued support in the Extension Office and everything that you guys do for the kids in this community. We won't keep you forever, and we'll try to go through this fairly quickly. But as far as our budget request for this year, we're just asking for an increase of $2,500 that will cover the second agent match that WVU is requiring from every county in the state, just to get us to that number. We had 2 years to come up with it. We're in our second year, and that will be the amount that will get us to that point. So that is our only change on our budget request from you all. And to give a report on what we've done this past year, and I encourage any suggestions, any questions, anything you guys think that we might need to be doing more of, or anything you see that a lack of that maybe we can fill in. So as far as, and I apologize for my really lots of words paper, but it's hard to summarize a year on a piece of paper. So just really quickly, as far as youth ag activities, which is one of my favorite activities to work with in the county in the year. And we have an awesome group of kids here that really fit into a lot of my programming. We did a lot of judging teams. As you can see, we had horse judging, beef judging, sheep and goat judging, poultry judging. Our horse judging teams won first place in both the senior and junior division, and we had the top placing individuals, one of which had never even looked at a horse ever. So that was really exciting for him. I mean, he may have looked at one, but he was like, I don't want to judge horses. But we're like, you're a beef guy. It's the same. Just don't say you're going to put it on the rail or anything. So it sometimes when you have those new ones, it's like you get a clean slate. So you can teach them exactly. But our horse judging team, our senior horse judging team, got to go to Louisville, Kentucky and compete at NAIL, which is a huge experience. And they had a great time. And we raised money to get there, around $3,000. And then our poultry barbecue contest kids also went the following week. And we had the 4th and the 6th place turkey and chicken barbecue in the country. So that was really exciting. We had a good time when we were down there. And it was wild. The first week we were down there, it was warm. The second week it was freezing in just 7 days. The difference. As far as our other, we had kids that placed very highly and in top ranks in many of the other judging contests as well. So the fair this year, and Lizzie's going to talk a little bit about that as well. We had 108 animal projects from Hardy County, which is the lion's share of the projects at the fair. And then we had 255 animals, and you can see what that brought, and it was an increase from last year, which is great. The community's always there to support our kids. As far as Poultry Week, that's always a big week. We have our youth day that we do that is a full day of youth activities. We did the judging contest, and we also had a poultry slaughtering demonstration this year that I think was very informative. Wouldn't you say? Yes, it was something. It was great. The kids really learned a lot, and by their facial expressions from the during it was very entertaining as well. So just some other sales and things that I do throughout the year. And then as far as the next group of kind of categorize these into different places, but risk management is another thing that I work on. So of course, with our avian influenza risk, we've been working hard on getting a plan in case it does come here. As of yet, it is not in our area. It is at Pocahontas County had a case, but it was confined and it was at a backyard flock. We have not seen anything else, and it has been quarantined and released, and all's well over there. But with that, I was trained in all these emergency management things, and I'm also was appointed by the Department of Ag as the liaison between people and the government people. So they feel like Extension has a very good ability to be that bridge. Women in agriculture is something that has a lot of risk management in it, a lot of record keeping. We had a site this year for Annie's project where we had 12 women. It's a 6-week course, and it was very well received. And then stress management is something that came out of our stakeholder meeting we had a couple years ago. So we've been kind of chipping away at that. And currently we have some research projects also relating to looking at coping strategies for farmers and just how they're, getting the word out there, keep talking about it. But there's just we taught some different classes. I did a national poster. We had a class in Wardensville, a couple locally, and then I added it to every one of the drought seminars that we did this summer as well. And moving on to drought, as you know, we had a horrible year for drought. An extension wanted to make sure that we were doing what we needed to do to get information out there and work hard trying to help our producers. I had 5 meetings, one in person, and then the rest of them were kind of on Zoom with a lot of information and kind of linked what producers can do as far as receiving any kind of relief assistance from the government to planning what to do if this ever happens again or to get over it when we finally did get rain. And as of January, the FSA has given $1 million to farmers in Hardee County alone, which is a significant amount of money. And then the Department of Ag has $10 million left to give out to the whole state. So the Army Special Forces training we continue to do over at Wardensville. As far as working with Eastern, we work with them on lots of programs and in their ag program. We just kind of fit in wherever we can. We do mentorship and whatever else they need. Of course, we do the bull test over at Wardensville. One thing that I really love is we bring all the FFA kids from East Hardee, Moorfield, Petersburg, Mineral, and Hampshire to come and brand bulls. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good day, and the kids get to learn how to do that. It's very hands-on. Other research was, we had a grant for copper deficiency measurement on sheep. We finished that this summer. We did not get any definitive research due to drought and animals. One of our producers lost like all of their lambs to a coyote or a dog or something, which ruined all of our post results for that. And then the 2 years of drought, leaving the lambs not really being able to have a summer forage to show any weight gain. We didn't really get to prove that copper help them with that, but we did notice that it does help with parasitism. The dung beetles, we talked about that a lot. Final fact sheet was published, and Hardee County is still number 1. And then bale grazing is a new research project that I'm doing here in Hardee County with the University of Kentucky, and we have a site in Durgan that the site he has is on top of the hill and it's inaccessible to like a litter truck to get fertilizer or anything up there. So we're using the bale grazing project to kind of help distribute those nutrients and have a place you set the bales out and then you release the cattle into it as they eat the bales. So it's time saving on the back end. It's a bit more effort on the front end, but it helps distribute those nutrients. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the wool pool, which we had 2 big projects trying to work that out. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, we have a wool pool in the county or in the area, and we have one of the highest sheep producing areas here. And we haven't been able to do the wool pool because the cost, there's 1 woolen mill left in the United States, and the cost to get the wool there was more than they were giving us the bid for the wool. So a lot of our producers are sitting on a bunch of wool. So we got together with Small Farm Center and a couple agents, and we're trying to come up with something to do with the wool. So we applied for 2 grants. One was going to pelletize the wool and try to sell it that way as a fertilizer or soil amendment. And the other one is going to be on a smaller scale. It's going to be more niche, but to just develop the wool, our West Virginia wool, our area wool into products and sell them at the state parks and such. We did not get the one to pelletize, but we did get the grants, the $200,000 grant for the other one. So that's exciting. So that's kind of everything in a very fast nutshell. I apologize for going over so quickly, but is there any questions, any comments? And as always, any suggestions of things you think that we can add to our curriculum for the year? I must have dazzled them.
Sounds like you keep very busy.
It's a lot.
It's
It's a lot. It's a lot of hopping from one thing to another.
All right. So everyone should have their handout there. I'm just going to kind of go through. This is the highlights. I'm really excited. Our middle school science team is here because I mentioned the STEM day on the back for you guys. Yes. So this year was a very successful year. You can see that we've had growth. In every area, we had 317 members at the end of the 4-H year. We went through just as an office to see, just knowing what we know, how many were really active. 280 of the 317 were going to club meetings, doing fairs and festivals, attending leadership events. So that's a big deal, just standing there being like, oh yeah, that kid. So 280 of that 317. That's a number that, I'd like to raise. 317 is higher than we've been in 20 years. In 2019, we had 219 members, and more kids are getting more and more involved and eager to do face-to-face interaction. I had a poster workshop last year. Nobody showed up. I had one this year, and I had 12 kids show up. So they really want that face-to-face. So you'll see that throughout, that we've had increases in everything. Teaching, over 1,800 direct contacts, that's face-to-face teaching. A lot of that is in the schools, in the classroom. I see every pre-K to fifth grader in the county at least once, usually more than that. Of course, weather and all kinds of fun things interrupt that. But I work primarily through our librarians because I do a STEM literacy program. So we start with a book of some sort that leads us into an activity. The most recent one was pollinators, so it's all about bees. And with the younger kids, we're doing bee dances, and the older ones were really talking about, the process of bees and making honey and those type of things. So we kind of do the same activity, but on a big scale. So I do that with the libraries a lot, and that's a nice small, captive audience. Camp is growing and growing and growing. You can see we've had more participation. On the back, there is a photo, the one at the bottom. These are all teens that participated in one of our week-long residential camping programs at Jackson's Mill this year. And we're fortunate enough to have endowments that were left by Annette Boggs and Kay and George Williams to help supplement that. Of course, when we had 5 or 6 kids go, that money paid for all of it, but now we kind of divide it out and conquer that way. So those numbers continue to grow, and Hardy County was like the second most represented county at those events, which is a huge deal. We had 3 youth participate from Moorfield Middle, go to Teen Leadership Summit. I guess before Christmas, we had 3 Moorfield Middle School students go, and they spent the week, and it was all life skill based. So these 3 boys came back, and they had their quilt pieces they made, and they sewed on buttons, but they also did public speaking and rock climbing and all kinds of things. So they really enjoyed themselves. It was a very good time. One of those youth is totally new to 4-H in the last year, and it's sold. He wants to do everything, and he's already signed up for more in the spring. Projects, we're up 8.5% in 2024. 204 projects were completed. We're holding at 60% completion rate. Now that's out of a total. We had more projects were completed, but they also took more projects and didn't finish more projects. So we're holding at 60%. They say, I want to take this project. They complete 60% of them. But 204, which is a pretty big number, like with livestock at the fair. That 108 is part of that 24. That 108 is like half of the animals that they have there, a little less than half. We're really engaged and interactive. You can see the subject areas that they're really interested in right now on there as well. Research, this is the research project I've been working on. It keeps evolving, and we keep getting more and more information. So we've really had to say, what are we going to focus on? Because it's so much data that we can get lost in it. It's so we really, as a region, dialed down, and we're going to focus on what are they concerned about and what do they want to learn. From that, we already have programs. We identified programs that already exist to meet these needs. As a region, we're going to work on implementing them. Usually it's like selling it, and if you have any takers, a lot of the time. And then how can we create new programs? So extensions across the United States, programs exist. So it's finding the programs that have already been researched and we know work and implementing those. And then also regional teen leader weekends, which we have one coming up in the spring, and that's Potomac Highlands, Eastern Panhandle. We work together as our own region, and that is all going to be a whole life skills based weekend. And we're pulling directly from the research to, hey, this is what you wanted, so we're going to give it to you directly. And then, of course, they're kind of part of the research project. So afterwards, we'll follow up and be like, hey, did this meet your needs? You know, they get to kind of be our guinea pigs to try it out before we take it larger. You can see our volunteer hour value is significant, and it is up. It is significantly up. It is a 62.5% increase in volunteer hours since 2023. Okay, so in a year, we had that much volunteerism increase for camps. That's going back to 2 weeks. That's needing more people, and it's also engaging a different audience. If you're interested, I have all the statistics on their demographics and age, and you can see there's a demographic shift in our volunteers. So we've got more, there's a gap. There's like a Gen X gap and who is volunteering. But this new group, the new group coming up, they're just as many as we have, you know, in the other areas. So we've got young people who want to come back and they want to help and they want to give back. And I also think they are starving for that face-to-face interaction and involvement also, because they were hit. I mean, they were the ones who were graduating high school, you know, when everything shut down. They were the ones who kind of had life put on hold for a little bit. On the back, you can see some numbers there. Adult education is really big. We do have financial literacy program that I work on that team to produce materials and do research, and to get that out to the schools to meet that half credit requirement that they do have now. I have been in talks with Mrs. Strauderman. I still want to call you Clayton.
That's okay.
Mrs. Strauderman, about doing Energy Express next summer. The application is due in January. It is very competitive now. It's not I want to do it. Okay, sure. It's very competitive. Counties that have, like Mineral County has had a lot of sites for 25 years. Some of those 25-year sites were not accepted this year because they would rather have one site in as many counties as possible than 5 or 6 in one county and that type of thing. So it is very competitive, but we can make it happen, or we'll make our own thing happen. That's what we decided. We're going to make our own thing happen.
Yes.
We have to do something. What is that? House Bill? Yeah. 35. Yeah. House Bill 35. So we're going to make something happen. So I'm going to be working with Jennifer on that this summer, after you decide when that'll be, to try and be there as much as I can, to help as much as I can, and get volunteers and teams and stuff like that in there to help. There's, like Alex said, it's so much so fast, and we do so much, and every day is different. And everything is different. And just like you all know, with new policies and new administrations and everything changes. It's just constant change. So we never know what's going to happen or what we're going to have to do. But it was a real successful year, and you know, seeing the growth is that really is encouraging, and seeing them get more and more involved. And hope you enjoy our pictures. Those are some of our more enthusiastic kiddos. Any questions?
I hope you all do get Energy Express for this summer, because
Yeah.
I saw on a map that Hardy County was
Yeah.
singled out. I mean, everyone around us had
Yeah.
Energy Express.
And I think this is the first time
except
Pendleton
not
has
us.
had it. They're a new one. Pendleton is a new one. They had someone leave some money. So they're gonna, do that. So we're gonna work on it,
When we used to have it.
Yeah, we did it up until COVID, and then, we had it, and we didn't have it, and then we did it
Seemed like it
3 years, yeah. And if, we'll apply, it's kind of out of our hands at that point. Yeah, but hopefully we can get that.
Is that federally funded? Energy Express, a federal program or a state?
I'm not sure what grant it is. It's through AmeriCorps. So, yeah, like I don't, I'm not gonna make any promises. So yeah, I know that the type of grants change and they write for different grants and sometimes they get one and not the other and that type of thing. Of course, all grants are significantly less than they've ever been and that's going to continue. So my guess is as good as yours about what conversation we'll be having in the fall.
We'll see.
So
I understand.
yeah, we will see. And a lot of that federal type stuff is, we don't know what's going to happen. So,
Amen.
we just don't know. We just don't know. Yeah. There are no answers other than wait and see.
You said in our stipend that we give, that it needs to increase by $2,500 this year.
So Morgantown, to have 2 agents in the county, they asked for a certain amount of money, and they hadn't asked for an increase in like 20 years.
Yeah.
So last year they asked that every county come up with more money to support that second agent. But they gave us 2 years to do it. So last year the county commission gave like 13,000, I think, to match it, or no, we got them up to 13.
Yeah.
And then all we need left was the $2,500 that would fill in that gap for what they need for the second agent salary. Does that make sense?
What are they asking you for the second? What's the total? number?
2,500. 25,000. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
The county commission has supported, so they were doing the 15,000 and then they got us up to where we just need the 2,500.
Just they did.
Yeah. When we added it, I put it on that budget last year to try to get an increase from them.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
If that makes any
So
sense at all.
is this 2,500 on top of what we gave last
Yes,
year?
correct.
So that would make
So an
it
increase, yeah.
7,000.
11.
Yeah.
So we gave 9. We gave
So
9
I
last year.
misspoke. The 9,000, that goes on our salary match too, doesn't it? You don't,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that goes to part of that.
They're asking for
That's
that
part of
salary
that.
match. Yeah. And it's really complicated and every county has its own situation. And in Hardy County, we're very blessed. I don't think we have a good relationship and we make do with what we have. And I hate asking for money because I just don't, it's just not me. But we've had some counties that were completely unfunded by their county. So like they were, hitting rock bottom. So WVU's kind of solution to try to get the money more spread out was to get that match from every county for that second agent. And it keeps 2 of us in the county, basically.
So the county commission's giving you how much this year total just for them?
I can't even
For
remember
the
now.
the salary match.
For
I'm
the
not
salary
sure.
match,
And
I
they
can get
cover
you- I can't remember what it is.
everything else.
Yeah, and they have the office space and the 2 secretaries and
Okay.
all that stuff. And a budget for like supplies, a little budget from travel and all that we put through there. And then the 9,000 that we get already from here goes towards
Towards
that
salary.
salary match. Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Nope,
Okay.
I don't think so.
No.
Just in case.
Next up will be student support services updates by Beth Fuller.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
We just got the contract. Oh, from Beth? From who, Beth? I'm sorry. I don't think, do you have a handout for them, Dixie asked?
Yes.
You want me to hand it out before I get that?
Yes.
Just this? Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Get some up and give them to you.
Thank
Well, just getting ready. Yesterday. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Ouch, Hamilton.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Would you like one?
I was just going to take the opportunity this evening to share the updated guidance website with you from Moorfield High School. Mr. Dayton's been working on this year to get this website updated. That's what the information's about. Of course, we have some accomplishments from the school at the top, and then tons of links and things to help parents and students find information for scholarships and deadlines. All kinds of good information here, the SAT statistics for the school, FAFSA links, other helpful links. Down here, there's information about different colleges. Down here, there's also information that students can take surveys to see what type of career that may interest them, career pathways, college planning information. So he spent a lot of time updating this, so I just wanted to share that with you.
So one of the things that Mrs. Barr is in charge of is she oversees the guidance counselors in the county. So I wasn't sure if you guys were aware of that or not. That's one of her hats that she puts on.
Do you want to have any questions about anything or any questions for Mr. Dayton? He's out of town, or he was going to come this evening. All right. Got mine short and sweet because I know we had tons of things this evening.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thanks.
there you go.
Okay, next up, we have public comments. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes. And we have you all signed up, so.
We're just all going to talk about things.
Okay, that's perfect.
So we just wanted to update you about like where we're at with robotics and some of the things that we have coming up.
Yeah, so our robotics program has grown exponentially. We talked earlier this year about how we now have 21 teams total. We have just shy of 100 students that are participating on a regular basis, starting from first grade all the way up. That's expanding because next year we plan to do the entire first grade at Moorfield Elementary School. We're adding another middle school team next year and potentially more. So we're probably going to double in numbers by next school year and be serving about 200 students. The students that we have currently are doing amazing things, as we knew they would. Our students in Hardy County are very capable. They just need the opportunity to develop those skills and show them off. We're very passionate about doing that. Our high school team, which these guys are clearly a member of, they're not in the first grade team. Our high school team, we actually don't know if they're advancing to the world competition because our last competition got cut short due to weather. We have to go back and finish the rest of that competition on March 2nd. But based on where things were at the time that we left, we're pretty certain that our high schoolers will be advancing to the world competition as a representative of First Chesapeake.
Or a premier event. So
Or
there
a
are
premier
like
event.
basically 10 more options that are around the world. Yes.
Where will the world competition be held?
The world competition's in Houston, Texas. And it's the week before Easter. Like the week of Easter. So like it ends Saturday and Easter Sunday.
This year. This year.
Yeah, this year.
We still don't know.
We
So
will
we-
know March 2nd. We will know March 2nd. Well, supposedly, because we're supposed to know February 8th, but
We shall see. What we do know though is that both of our middle school teams, we have a girls middle school team with 6 girls, a boys middle school team with 5 boys. Both of those teams won at the state tournament and are advancing to the American Robotics Invitational. So they're advancing to the national competition, which is held in Liberty Science
Jersey
Center in
City.
Jersey City, Jersey, which if you're not familiar, that's basically New York City. That's just on this side of the Statue of Liberty instead of that side of the Statue of Liberty. We've been to that competition a few years ago, and now both teams advanced. So we're very excited. We'll be taking them there in May. So all of our middle and high school teams have advanced to a national, or we assume soon, hopefully, a national or international competition, which is amazing because although robotics is a fairly new thing in this area, First Robotics Program, which is the league that we participate in, serves hundreds of thousands of students across the world in I think 90 countries. And so for these guys to be competing at a world level says a lot about our students and what they're capable of.
We also hosted a competition at Moorfield High School a few weeks ago. I don't know if I saw on Facebook that there was a whole lot of buzz about what is going on at the high school. So we did host our first competition, and it actually ended up being 2 competitions because the Harrisonburg event the week before got canceled. So we had 55 teams there from all across Maryland, Virginia, and DC. So that was a good time.
Now, as a host, you were not.
We did not compete in that. So basically, you can have conflict of interest if you compete in your own event because all the judges and the people who are giving out the awards are people that we know. So that kind of gives you an unfair advantage, right?
But that competition was very well received, and since then they've asked us to host
Again,
additional. They asked for us to host district championship. So, and again, this is out of Maryland, Virginia, DC, and the Eastern Panhandle of West Virginia. So we're doing big things here in Hardy County. We're competing at a grand level, and these guys are
fantastic.
Very much the reason for it.
And so there are seniors. And every time we bring all of our robotics teams, everybody asks, like, what does robotics do for you? So you guys can talk a little bit about.
All right. So one main thing that robotics has done for me especially, and I know for him too, is help with our public speaking skills, sharing ideas, and for me especially it's helped with leadership skills. When I first started in robotics, I hated leadership. I mean, it seems scary. I can barely keep myself on track. Why would I want to keep other people? But the last 2 years, I've started taking on more leadership roles in robotics and Boy Scouts and just basically anywhere I am now, I end up leading people by accident. And robotics is a big reason for that.
And yeah, and additionally, at least to help me, it's also helped with my problem solving skills working on robots. I've learned how to code, and 5 years ago, I wouldn't even talk to people. Like, I hated it. And now, through all like the presentations, the outreach, STEM advocacy we've done, it has helped me grow those skills a lot. And additionally, we are seniors, and we are planning on, we have both been accepted
into the Rose Holman Institute of Technology. It's a small private tech school in Indiana. It's a pretty prestigious school. We both got accepted into there, and we both received decent sized scholarships to go there.
Congratulations.
In large part, those scholarships were due to robotics, and that's also a reason we got accepted.
And there are additional scholarships at the school for First Robotics.
They're being modest a little bit. They receive $100,000 scholarships, and they only give them to, how many people are enrolled in the school total?
25.
So 2,500 student total in the school. It's the #1 engineering school for undergrad in the country. It's rated higher than MIT and others. So, and these guys are, Hardy County's doing big things.
Proud of you.
Rose Holman.
Rose Holman.
Yep. Rose like the flower, and then Holman, HULMAN.
Oh, okay.
And William, he was just here. He went to pick up my son from daycare because they were here a little longer than expected. So, you know, I get babysitters out of this gig too. Yeah.
Friends benefit.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But anyhow, William was here. So William is taking an engineering path as well, and he was accepted. He was wanting to do service academies. He got 9 nominations from like congressional representatives to go to the various service academies. We just found out, unfortunately, he is medically disqualified. His waiver was denied. But he still has that to stand on, that he's received more nominations than it's difficult to get one, and he got 9. And again, to his credit, a lot of the opportunities that he's had to beef up his resume has been because of what we've been able to provide through robotics and networking with those associations. And he's now working towards a couple of other colleges and received some scholarships and looking into what he's going to do next. But definitely this whole endeavor opens up a lot of doors for students that would otherwise be closed. And our students in Hardee County, we're very passionate about providing that for them because there's a lot of doors that are not naturally open to them that are maybe open in more affluent areas or more developed areas, but our kids are every bit as capable. And so we love that this is providing one more way to get them out into the world doing big things.
Yeah. And we're having a fundraiser dinner on Saturday because, yeah, we have all of these trips to take. So if you are not doing anything, come to Duffy and
Baked potatoes.
baked potato bar.
Speaking of that, so we are trying to raise funds for them to go to these national and international events. Our estimate currently is that we need about $35,000 for all 20-ish of them to attend those events. So we have a lot of fundraisers coming up in a very, very short amount of time. So we would appreciate your help in advertising those with the community and getting people out. And if you have any funding ideas that maybe we haven't thought of or haven't explored, we would greatly appreciate any help with that. We don't have like athletic boosters and that sort of thing behind us. We have the two of us. And that's a big job. So if you have any ideas or any opportunities to share, please reach out to us and let us know because we want to get these guys to those things that they've earned.
I think meals like your potato are great.
They usually do pretty
Yeah,
good.
well, are very generous. I found that with church center soup and sandwich. Try soup and sandwich meal.
That we had that conversation
Yeah, we
today.
did.
That's been added to the calendar.
Okay.
We have to have some dates approved, but yeah.
While we still have cold weather, that would be a great one.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Doing a
Congratulations.
fantastic job, making us proud. And Mr. Sherman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on here to the consent items.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion, a second on the floor, to approve the consent items. I had a question on well, I guess those aren't the same invoices actually. But we had, on the invoices that we got from Barb, I guess. I still haven't found that list of utilities. I think you told me that she was gonna send that out.
She
That should
emailed
have been a separate
Yeah, we
email.
had it right after the meeting.
the day
I think the day after.
the last meeting.
Yeah, the day after.
Well, I'm just missing stuff, aren't I?
It's okay. It should be in your school email, and it's just an attachment that has it all on there.
It's a spreadsheet.
Mhm.
It's like that. It's there.
Okay, I'll look and see if I.
If not, Dixie, just shoot me a text or something, and I'll make sure you get it.
Okay, because I saw where we had an electric bill. I'm gonna go where Janet had trodden, 18,872.
Yeah.
I think for the same time period, Northwood High School is like not even $9,000. So I don't know what the problem was.
Well, I know that they calculated, the usage, and Sarah, you'll have to help me on this, but the actual, usage has gone down, but the rate has increased. That's on that email, I think, if I remember, unless it was some email I got.
I think even my electric bill at home is.
Doubled, mine doubled.
Pretty much.
I'm not sure what the rates, I'm not sure how that rate thing works, because I think don't you get so many kilowatts at a certain rate until it kicks into a different. I talked to Josh about him calling just to see how
how we are billed for that. But Dixie, in those, I sent out the utility usage as well as the cost, just because I thought it was good to see, because if you look at, in the email that went out, the utility usage for FY24 versus the utility usage for FY25, we've gone down every month except for October in the actual usage.
So did you send that out in the same email?
It came from Barbie. I gave it all to her. She sent it out. The only thing that kind of took my attention on that was that the board office doubled in usage.
That was before our little meters.
Yeah, that was before the meter, so I'm not, so if you look at, and you can have these if you want,
Oh,
if that's
I mean, these
easier,
are your
that's what
basic,
was,
that's cool.
this is just what was in the email. But
officially
like, if
shut
you
down.
look at the total usage for all locations for FY24 versus this year, we've actually gone down every month so far, except for October, we were up 9,000 in large, but the other ones we've actually gone, if you want to look at that.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
still on demand, isn't that correct? When demand, when everything cuts on, that's what you're,
I
Rate
think
is
it does
set
say
at.
something about demand on the actual
so
bill.
that could be part of the issues. If everything is coming on at the same time, then the demand rate is set, whatever that comes on at.
Okay, now see, I don't know much about the kilowatts at all, the usage piece of that and how it's billed. And I don't know why here would have doubled as far as usage.
Well, we turned the boiler off. The only thing I can think is we stopped using it a while ago, but we were still able to access it, and every now and again, people would get in and pop it up, and it would get super hot. That was about a year ago, probably, that we actually went and disconnected it.
Of course, some of the increase from November to December would have just been colder weather.
Sure.
But, I mean, it went from November to December.
Yeah,
Maybe you can check with Josh about that demand, see if that's still how it's billed. I'm almost certain it is.
We have no control.
Right.
Zero. You can't change.
If your demand peaks out, that's what it is.
And from everything that I've read,
I mean, they
when I
got you by,
searched,
you know what? Because you don't have a choice.
and everything I read, when I searched, said that their rates were to increase over a period beginning in October or November of this past year, but I can't find anything specific, like how, how much per kilo or anything like that, residential versus commercial. I couldn't find anything additional about it, but I would check see if Josh was able to find anything out on that.
So once they determine that you're a demand consumer, you can't change it. Where are you all at the courthouse?
Demand also. Almost every business demands.
So they base it on what your
The highest
maximum
use.
kilowatt.
Yeah, the highest use, whatever.
use
Highest
was.
use.
No matter
And
what
it's
it
probably
is.
year round.
I
I
think
don't
it is.
know if it's per month. I think it's, so whatever your highest use of December is gonna be what your charge year round. That's how we are at the fair. It's just, it stinks. Because it just, we're there at the fair how often?
Yeah,
To the summers, we rent it out a good bit, but I mean, the winter months, and then if you disconnect it, there's a huge fee to the reconnect. They got you.
well, boy, just don't pay the bill. They disconnected in a second now, I'll tell you, that's the quickest way to get it unhooked. Just don't pay the bill. Because, I mean, they come in, about 5 minutes from the last day of the billing? I guess they send you a couple of, I don't want y'all to think that I wouldn't pay my bills, but, I mean, you just hear from people that that's what happens, about 5 minutes later, they're there. So.
And the way down the street.
Yeah. Okay, did anybody else have any discussion or comments about anything on the consent agenda? I saw where you found your.
You like that?
Yes, I did. I'm so proud.
2 numbers just got reversed back probably about 8 months ago.
Okay, all right.
2 cents backwards. I don't know
Yeah,
if it was 23 and 32. I don't know, but anyway,
yeah.
I found them.
I knew that you would, and when I saw that it was connected, I wanted to mention that. We
Yep,
appreciate
it bothered me long enough. I just had to find a little bit of time to get back through it.
Yeah,
So getting everything ready for the auditors was a good time to look on those sheets.
yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, so we're 11 cents back to being in balance.
Yeah, that's good. And then 32 versus 23.
Yep.
Okay, so all those in favor of approval of the consent items, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's approved 5-0. Now on to unfinished business.
Your expenditure by object report for January 31 of this year. I apologize because I did say I was going to make that adjustment for the retirement contribution, and I made the adjustment on the budget side to get it to what the latest update was, and got into something else on the budget side and forgot to do it on the expense side. So hopefully I'll remember to make that adjustment before the next printout of this goes out. And I want to dive in deeper to that and give you a greater detail breakdown of that before the next meeting. I did tell you because I didn't have the bank statement the last meeting, that if it was off, I would let you know. We've been paying a $15 wire fee for one of our retirement transfers each month. And when I first started, I went rounds with Summit on that because they were charging us a fee, and they said that was mandated, they could not charge it. Well, Burke and Herbert didn't charge it. So I was off $30. So we are $30 to the good as well. If you look at this one's right, but if you look at just last month's, it was $30 for that. But anyway, that was the only change there that I said I would let you guys know for some reason, since I didn't have that bank statement at that time that we did the bank rec.
Have you all been able to, I know your first attempt to move the money, you weren't able to. Has it been moved now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I moved the bulk of the general account was moved on January 24th. And then we went to move the savings and CD for the scholarship funds. And that's when the computers were, the poor folks over there were having a bad day, which you would, because everything's computer. So if computers are down, then it's a bad day anyway. But so yeah, I think we went a couple days after that and got that moved. Now Grant County Bank, I don't know if you'll notice on any of those schedules in there, they gave us their normal interest rate. So I didn't catch that until I saw the bank statement. So they deposited the additional interest, I think like the 1st or 2nd of February. So if you look at the actual, I think it's on one of those sheets that you guys get maybe, you'll see that the interest is it says the interest earned for the month is $98.66. If you look at that, for some reason, Burke and Herbert doesn't deposit theirs until the 1st or 2nd of the month. They did that for November, then they did December's on the last date, and then January's they did on the 1st of February. So we got more interest than that for the month. It's just they didn't deposit theirs into our Burke and Herbert account until the 1st or 2nd, and then Grant made the adjustment for the week that our funds were in their account on the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of the month. So next month, if it's all deposited when it should be, it'll look like a lot, because it'll have 2 months of interest. But anyway, if you see that, don't get too excited.
Are they charging, is Grant County Bank going to charge you all a wire fee?
No, they do not. No. And that was part of when I went to someone originally to talk about that, because I knew they weren't charging Grant in discussions when I had it with them. But no, I'm not sure why Burke and Herbert didn't. But anyway, I made the adjustment for those two charges to get rid of them. Because Peggy just automatically, each time she did that, transfer
Sure.
those funds, she just
She knew.
did the
She put it
15
in
bucks
there
and
so
put it
it
in and ran it
balanced,
through.
yeah.
Yeah. So the adjusting journal entry's been made to account for both of those charges. So that was the only change. If you look at last month, it should be $30 more
Okay.
in the bank. I also told you that I was going to look at the travel. I did
Thank you.
You're welcome. Revision. It hasn't been sent out yet, but I did a revision to the reimbursements for travel. You're welcome. You're welcome. Based on the GSA, the federal United States General Services Administration rate. So the main piece of this that was changed is just the meals part. Everything else was left the same. If you guys want to take a look at that. But that would get that reimbursement to the federal standard, which is what the state uses, what they suggest we use. So it's actually based on guidance as opposed to just us coming up with a rate.
Did you get a chance to talk to Peggy about the PEA?
I did, and we're going to take a look at that. There's no,
Light bulb in here is freaking out. Have you all seen it?
I saw something kind of blinking.
Insane. I don't know if it's this one or.
I thought we would be able to pull something off of their site of their versus our contribution, but we can't. So
Okay.
I'm going to have to do a little bit more calculating to figure that out, but we'll get it.
What were you asked about that?
Yep, I talked to Peggy the other day and actually have a note to do that on my desk. Anybody have any questions about anything or comments or concerns?
Done good.
It's good.
All right.
Thank you.
And the audit was fantastic, by the way. You want to talk, just mention that the audit was fantastic. Took care of our.
Insufficient.
The audit was good. We got, all of the things that we have implemented were enough for a full year to get rid of the segregation of duties bonding. So it's going to be a management letter. I mean, they'll address it in a management letter that, there's still some lack of segregation of duties in the school, but it does not become an audit finding. So we had 0 audit findings this year, and just that one piece that'll be on the management letter.
It was amazing. They did a great job.
It's
Yeah,
been
I'm proud of you.
tough. It's been a lot, but that's good. Always good to hear.
Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
Okay, move on now to new business. Nothing, I don't think we have anything. Board member superintendent discussion, no action may be taken.
I didn't know if you all wanted to discuss school visits. If you were wanting to have those, not wanting to have those, wanting to schedule them, we go back and forth every year, but I have proposed dates if you do.
I think we need to.
I don't want to wait later like we did last year.
If we do, I think we should try to do it in 2 days. And not.
And not 3?
No.
Okay.
We've missed so much school, I just don't, and this would be hard for me in the mornings anyway, because of calves. So, but I'll be at as soon as I get them out.
It's totally up to you guys. It's your decision, 100%. Nothing that says you have to do it.
We have
It's
6,
your
what, we have
decision.
6
I just want
schools,
to get them scheduled.
right, 6,
I think last year we did 2, the last time we did 2 a day.
yeah.
2, 2, and 2.
Mhm, 2 and 2.
We could do 3, couldn't we, a day?
I think that we need to have, I know that they like to see us in the schools and it's nice to go to the schools. But at the same time, it seems a little bit of a waste that we walk up the hall. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that we don't have an agenda. It would be nice maybe if we could, maybe,
Have a plan. That's not a bad
have a
idea.
plan of what.
Meet with maybe certain people instead of going to every room and interrupting.
We can schedule you to be there during your planning and put you in a place and let them
There you
say,
go.
hey, board
That's a
members will be
good
there during
idea.
your planning if you want to talk to them. Now, I'm gonna recommend that, you do it, no, I don't know that I should be part of that, because I don't know that if I'm part of that, I'm gonna sit there going, what they're telling you is this, and this, or I'm gonna try to explain everything that I know and probably step on your toes trying to answer questions as opposed to you guys just listening. So I feel like if you do that, you should probably do that without me, so they feel comfortable talking to you instead of feeling like they're there to talk to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, very much so.
I think anytime we go, they do appreciate us coming and talking.
Sure they do.
Mhm.
You know? And sometimes that's the only chance that they get to see us. So I think it's important that we do visit.
Do you want me to set up a place for you then in each building now, you're gonna run into things like at the high school, they're gonna have planning all day long. So there's not gonna be
Well, there's not a perfect
Period,
solution, but what
but
you
around
come up with,
lunchtime?
sure, yeah.
okay. Well, let me talk to the school's principals meetings tomorrow. So let me talk to them and see.
Yeah, see what they
Okay.
think, because we really do open up their bag. See what they, it's always nice to see the wee little kids. And the others, I don't know that they really care whether they see or not, unless you have a grandkid or something in a bright classroom, they always wanna see, they wanna see you, but.
Maybe if you can set up at planning times or at lunch times, they could then at least circle through if they wanted to say hey, and if they don't.
Right.
And if you all wanted to walk through the building at that point in time. I don't mind to be there, but I just think when they come talk to you, they should probably get an opportunity to do so.
I think they'd be more comfortable.
Yeah, if they can. You'll just have to remember that all 5 of you there together, it's not a meeting. That'll be the only thing you have to remember, is that you're just there for open communication.
Okay, well, we could kind of take notes a little bit.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
And say that,
That's a good idea. Alrighty, and that's the only thing, you've been following Jim Brown's updates legislatively. I can bring you updates if you want at board meetings, but I feel like you're getting daily emails from him, probably telling you what's going on. He'll update you on all those bills as they're popping through.
I thought the couple that, the last one I looked at was, House Bill 2480, reduction of school board secretaries, condensing us from 55 superintendents to 11.
Yeah, so
was it
Superintendents.
Superintendent,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
from 55 to 11.
Yeah, regional.
And each county would have 2 representatives on one of those 11.
You mean to drop the number of superintendents?
Yes,
From 55 to 11.
You
yes.
can't do that.
Yeah, they bring that
Well, they
up.
were gonna do that with boards too, weren't they?
Oh,
Didn't they talk about
absolutely,
doing
that's
that?
what they want.
At one
They
time,
have, they,
Regional.
like having,
Regional
like one
boards
board, like one
rather
board
than-
member from like 5 counties.
One
be like Risa A.
Yeah.
Hope scholarships, they say, and by fiscal year 26 will
Keep
cost
going.
110 million,
Justice did a very good job, did he?
300 million by fiscal year 27.
I mean, I know that we want, I shouldn't say we, I know that there are a lot of people that want school of choice, and I know that the parochial schools have never felt it was fair that
Especially at
they
the federal
pay
level, huh?
taxes and then they get nothing for their students. But, I mean, it makes no sense that they're trying to put public schools out of business.
That's what it seems like.
I think
Oh,
we
it's-
heard nursing,
It'll
85% of kids go to public school.
And then Senate Bill
Especially with the federal
284
cuts.
wants to raise our training hours to 12. Do they not realize
Be a
how
lot of
hard it is
those.
to get people to run for school board anyway? And then to put all this extra, I mean, not 5 hours, maybe it's not all that much extra for somebody else, but basically it takes a weekend to earn that, and I don't know, again, maybe another attempt, I don't know where that's coming from. But I do have one thing I'd like to ask. Would you please clarify your recommended procedure for us when we are approached by a parent or a county citizen with a complaint? How are we to handle that? I want to be totally clear.
Well, my suggestion personally, I mean, I think if you reach out to me, depending upon what the concern is, you can always reach directly out to me at any time of day or any moment and let me know what it is. And I can attempt to handle if it's something I can handle on my own. And I mean, I'll have to see what it involves. I mean, it may be different based, I guess, on what the concern is as to who all needs to be involved, but reach out to me and then I guess we can discuss if it's something that the whole board needs to be made aware of, depending upon the level of significance, we can bring it to the board.
Okay.
Is that fair?
You first. That's exactly what I wanted to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, what I was always taught in the earlier years of school board, and I don't know, maybe it's changed, you guys can chime in here, but a lot of times a parent will come up to you and say something because they see you.
Right. And that has
And
happened a couple of times lately.
yeah, and they're the first ones that are not following the way things should be.
Well, my wrote response is, I'll take it to the board.
And,
That's correct.
Or have you talked to
And-
Dr. Van Meter yet?
Right.
and that's
That
what,
was John Miller's. Have you talked to Mr. Hines yet?
yeah, the first place that it should go as far as the chain is to the principal of the building. That person needs to go to the principal of the building. And,
Even
and
before
then
they
if
talk to
they
Dr. Van
don't,
Meter?
if they don't do what they're supposed to do,
Chain
then it comes on to the board and the superintendent. But you have to give the people a chance to fix something before, this is the grand poopah, before it's aired, in that way. So,
Listen to them, but don't make any,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, you can listen, but just don't make any
And
suggestions or comments.
when you're the new person on the board, you get lots of phone calls. I don't know. And people seeing you're probably getting lots of phone calls. I get maybe 1 or 2 a year.
Nancy got a lot.
Well,
She
she
was-
didn't get phone calls.
She
It was
got, yeah,
being
yeah,
places.
yeah.
Being places.
Being a bold.
And what that person sees a problem. And they see you and think, my gosh, I'm gonna give that problem to you. And it's your problem now. But yet we haven't gone through the proper ways. But when people used to call me a good bit, and they'd have complaints about something, a teacher or,
Principal.
yeah. When there were complaints, I would say, have you talked, if it was a teacher, have you talked with a teacher? And so much of the time they would say, oh, there's no way I want to talk to the teacher. They'll take it out on my kid. And I said, I don't think so. And if it was, something a little higher up, have you talked with the building principal? That we need to do that before we get the superintendent involved. But people are just tickled to death to give you their problem.
Amen.
They are, and, they're owning it right now. And boy, it's a hot potato. So that's my little thing in there, and it depends upon the situation. You know what needs to come right to Dr. Van Meter and what needs to go through proper channels. But if I were a principal and I get a call from Dr. Van Meter that,
Such and such, Dr. Van Meter said, well, have you talked to Ms. Campbell? And if they say, or Mrs. Campbell, and they say no, we have nothing further to talk about. When you talk to her, then you can talk to them. Because they like to bypass, and we had one superintendent who liked to get involved, who liked that. He didn't
The gotchas.
micromanage us
Yeah.
as principals. And you don't do that, and Dr. Miller didn't do that.
Well, and a lot of people, they want you to take up the fight. If it's about their child, they want you to personally take up the fight for their kid.
Right.
I mean, that's what they want. And they have to learn to speak up for their own child if their rights, their civil rights or their school rights or anything like that is being denied, then hey, go for it. But anyway.
What's the status on calendars?
We just got the one that Grant County approved. We have until May the 4th, for us to have our hearings and all of that stuff. So we have the ones that will be going out to vote. We'll have our 2 in-county hearings, and then we'll wrap it all up.
So we've already gotten our calendars from the process and all those?
We have 2 calendars from the calendar committee, which was made up of all of the representatives from the different schools. And then we have a calendar from the one that South Branch approved not South Branch approved, but Pendleton and Grant approved, that is the same based on to make the South Branch schedule. So we're gonna make that our 3rd one. So we'll have 3 different calendars that everybody will get to vote on, and that's where we are. Nobody's voted on.
So why did Pendleton get in with Grant doing the South Branch calendar?
It was always the 3 of us. And remember, we decided that we were gonna do our own this year. Remember when they sent you guys the letter and we agreed to let them do their own, but we thought it was a good idea to add that as an option because it's the adjoining aligned calendar as the 3rd option. So there are 2 that the committee decided upon, and then that will be the 3rd. So you guys give them 3 to vote on.
And how about your survey for when to make up school? Have you figured that?
Yeah, so I had 204 votes as of yesterday. I haven't looked at it today. And it was like 60-some% in favor of the end of the year. And then the other percentage was in favor of the spring break. So far, we're looking, but they have until February 20th to vote.
You're looking to put in days at the
Well, I
end.
think what we need to think about too, is end of the year days doesn't help kids. They're missing school right now. So if you're putting 2 days at the end of school, that's not gonna help them. The amount of time that those kids have missed now, they need to be in school.
I don't disagree with you. They're all OS days that can all be pulled to make up. You're supposed to start with the closest ones. But I figured we have a lot of employees and students who have vacations planned, so they won't be here at all. And so
I'm aware
before
of
we
that, but
brought it,
important is keeping their kids in school.
well, I'm gonna bring it to you guys. So you'll get to vote on the end. And I told everybody that. If you do see the email, so it'll come to you all for an approval, so you can veto it if you don't like it. I just figured having them go ahead and vote and pick which one they wanted at this point, because I was getting, at one point, it was literally 50-50 on what they wanted, so.
Well, do we have any full-day professional developments coming on, or even half days that we could buck them to the end of
Drawing
school?
6 figures.
We do, but they're not things, they're things we have scheduled, we can't reschedule, if that makes sense, because we're paying for them. And am I right, Ms. Strotterman?
I'd have to double check what is scheduled, but
Letters.
yes, we've got people coming in, people
Like
different ones.
Get the ball,
Like
get the
treasurers
basketball
and
done.
stuff like that.
And so you did it with this best.
I think we either need and, our letter stuff, we have people paid for.
When are the leader and meeting will be,
Is it the?
I've gotta look.
Yeah, we've got the dates. I don't have off the top of my head, Jennifer can tell you.
Did they get Lighthouse over?
The weather canceled it. There are people that were coming on their team, they were flying in, and so they canceled. So they're gonna reschedule it.
Okay.
Yeah. She was pretty bummed they didn't get to do it.
The other thing, that I have
Found one
a
today.
question about and,
That's pretty.
is that can we see how the
Three.
alternative school kids, just them, did on their benchmarks?
I'm sure we can get a report on that.
I'd really like to see that because I need to make sure that I understand what's going on with that.
black.
So they do virtual school 3 days a week.
Okay, so there's two different, alternative kids are in school every day. Our regular alternative kids, they come to school. We have a middle school program and a high school program, and they actually
And
come in
what,
and spend the day in
that
alternative.
that makes me so happy. What times are they here from?
Regular
Regular
school
school
days.
hours.
Yeah. Then we have the
Okay.
kids that are expelled, that are in evening alternative ed. And those
And they
kids come
just
in
get
the
a
evenings for a
couple
couple
hours.
hours this week, yeah. But our
Okay.
alternative ed kids are in school all day, every day,
Okay, so the expelled students.
are the ones that can't by code be on
Well,
property
sure,
during
I'd
school
like to see
day.
what their scores are too.
Okay,
Not only at their home
Because
school,
they're
but
the
any school in
ones
the
that
county.
just get the
correct,
2
in school
hours.
property.
In school, actually, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's
Property.
4
In the
hours a
state.
week. Yeah, they
Oh, I
can't
didn't
be.
I
realize.
think it might be.
Um,
I just kidding.
I don't know about that.
Because I remember we played the town one time. And the superintendent or the principal played the town calling me about a kid. I said, don't let him. Gary Smith, remember him, superintendent, he was the principal. They played the tail after he left here.
Okay.
Are we still looking at the floor? Just Josh found
Yeah, I haven't
anything?
gotten all the quotes yet from the lady that's supposed to be working with us through ZMN. But so the fire marshal came and the, what's the ASAP, the alarm folks have been here and put the tag on it. So he said that once ASAP, and they're supposed to stop by this week, once they come through, they're gonna go in, test all the alarms, put the tag on it, and then the fire marshal's gonna come back through, and as long as he sees the tag, he'll sign off on everything. That was the only thing we needed, was the alarm testing piece, and then it was fine.
Was there any results from the other visits to the schools with fire marshal?
We don't have the report yet. I don't think anything serious.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll get those reports back probably. in the
They always write up something, don't they? They'll find
They try to
something.
find something.
A cord here, that's not
Something
tied
within
down.
11
Plug
inches
in.
of the ceiling. An extension cord.
That could be the case.
Yeah.
Or picture on the window of the door
Something.
where you can't see out.
And they're busting mailbox.
I have not heard that.
Another what?
Do you know when? And I'll try to
A
find
week or
out.
so ago, probably, I think. Maybe last week. I don't know. It was after the other one.
Okay, I'm not sure about it. I haven't heard that one.
Another mailbox got bumped.
Oh.
I'll make sure Josh is aware too. He was on vacation last week until I think he came back Thursday. And I was off Friday, so I don't spend a lot of time with him, but I'll try to get with him and see what's going on.
Anybody have anything else?
All the letters from Northfield High School, looks like total support pretty much for block.
If we want to talk about our planned personnel changes with that, I'd have to go into executive session because I can't
Right.
talk about that publicly at this point.
Because our school needs, do you need some more time
More time for,
for you to develop whatever your plan is?
no,
Yeah.
I just can't. It's a personnel action that'll be coming to you guys through the proper personnel channels for risk transfer. So I can't
When
talk
the
about it
letter,
publicly.
when the letters have to be sent out,
They've been sent out.
Okay. I knew there was a deadline.
Yeah, you have time, but we're working ahead. So if we need to have hearings, we can have those on March the 3rd.
3 o'clock.
That's right, we're
Yeah,
here,
3 o'clock.
we're here.
3.
If we need, if we need them, right?
If we need it, yeah.
And you'll let us know.
So that takes care of our announcement, next meeting, March 3 at 5. And if we have any personnel hearings, they'll be in at 3 o'clock, so. Okay. Mission statements and accomplishments.
You know, those two young men here, that's outstanding amount of money they're receiving. You know, it's more prestigious than MIT, it must be.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, the robotics itself is, I would have liked something like that. It's really,
Great thing.
oh, absolutely. It's wonderful what they're doing, and, the two teachers seem to be working together real well as a team.
They work really hard.
How about the state roster? Several of them, did several Hardy counties win in each state, or have they had the state competition?
Regionals is actually this coming Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have
But
several.
they have some
ranked in
that
Hardy
probably
County,
should,
but we have some that'll
Right.
definitely go to state
yeah,
or should place. Yeah, it'll be good. A good batch.
yeah.
How are the basketball, girls and boys basketball team doing at the schools?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
East Hardy's boys team, they're pretty good.
Aren't they ranked?
They were, Janet, they were. Their boys team.
But they're not?
I would say they probably still are, aren't they?
Yeah.
I honestly don't. I
haven't
don't
looked at it.
But like, it's gonna be hard to beat Tug Valley and Tucker. Tug Valley's number one in single A. They won it last year. Everybody says they're hard to. Yeah, I think Moorfield's probably mediocre. Yeah, they're probably around 500 if that.
I honestly haven't touched on this.
Well, we certainly are.
They beat I know they beat
They beat-
Petersburg.
Well, Petersburg beat
Huh?
them. We beat East Hardy.
But
Petersburg
I
beat
said
East Hardy and East
Moorfield's
Hardy.
boy, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're glad that-
I hope everybody.
But you
can-
did.
So we did.
Absolutely, it's wonderful that they participate in
But right now,
athletics.
wrestling's
I mean,
probably
who
the
says you
strength
have to be
of
number
Moorfield.
one? It's good for you,
There's
it's
several
it's good mental
Wyman boy and
stimulation,
some other
good
kids
physical
I've
stimulation.
Never heard of it.
Working with
The
the
lower
team.
weight classes, her boys,
So, it's
215
good.
at East Hardy.
Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, we'll head for personnel, and do you,
Make a motion
Are
to
we
go
gonna
into executive
request-
session.
Second. Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to go in an executive session at 6:32. All those in favor? Opposed?
Sarah, what
So,
region, section is Petersburg in?
remove? No, there's an executive session board,
Section,
right?
be- what's-
That first. And then unmute, start cam, and that's it.
Yes.
Start cam, and that's it. A little bit of a delay.
Okay.
I move we come out of executive session.
Have a motion and a second to come out of executive session with no action taken. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And we're out at 6:57.
I recommend the approval of the personnel actions for February 17th, 2025 as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the recommended personnel actions. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? And they're approved 5-0.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it's approved 5-0, and we're adjourned at 6:57. Thank you all.
So I'm